Imagine discovering that the woman you've called your sister your whole life is actually your mother. That's the shocking truth Merl Oberon lived with. But that was only the beginning of the secrets she kept. Secrets that fueled her rise to fame and haunted her until the very end. Her journey from a hidden past in India to becoming one of Hollywood's most glamorous stars is a tale of deception, survival, and the dark side of fame. She not only reinvented her history, but meticulously sculpted her identity to fit an industry that rejected anything outside of European beauty standards. Merl Oberon was born in 1911 in Bombay, India, now Mumbai, under circumstances she would spend a lifetime hiding. Official records list her as the daughter of a Welsh engineer, Arthur Thompson, and Charlotte Selby, a Eurasian woman from Sri Lanka. But this was a well-crafted cover story. The shocking truth? Merle's real mother was actually her sister, Constance, who was only 12 years old when she gave birth. Constance became pregnant after suffering abuse at the hands of her stepfather. To avoid scandal, Charlotte, Merle's grandmother, decided to raise the child as her own, a common practice in many cultures at the time. But as Merle grew older and learned the truth, she made a decision that would define her life. She would never acknowledge it. Her childhood was shaped by secrecy. Growing up in India under British rule, Merle saw firsthand the stark divisions between social classes and racial groups. Being of mixed heritage meant facing discrimination, and she quickly learned that her darker complexion placed her at a disadvantage. From a young age, she began passing as white, distancing herself from anything that might connect her to her true roots. She didn't just hide the truth. She completely erased it, severing all ties to her real origins and creating a new identity that would pave the way for her Hollywood career. Growing up in British India, Merle experienced the brutal realities of racial discrimination. With her mixed-race heritage, she faced mockery and exclusion from elite circles. To escape this, she crafted an entirely new backstory. She claimed to have been born in Tasmania, Australia, and insisted her birth records were destroyed in a fire. This lie was more than just a fabrication, it was survival. Hollywood in the 1930s and 1940s was notoriously prejudiced, and women of color were rarely given lead-in roles. By presenting herself as a white European, Merle was able to break through the racial barriers of the time and land major roles that would have otherwise been impossible. But deception came at a cost. Her real mother, Constance, was still alive and living as a dark-skinned woman. To keep up appearances, Merle went as far as pretending her mother was simply a servant when she visited. She cut ties with her past, distancing herself from any connection to India, even when confronted with the truth. Her calculated reinvention extended to every aspect of her life. She altered her accent, refined her mannerisms, and ensured no traces of her Indian upbringing remained. Interviews and public appearances were carefully controlled, and any attempts to investigate her origins were met with firm denials. Even when the press speculated about her unusual looks, she dismissed their curiosity as baseless rumors. Merle didn't just change her story, she changed her skin. Determined to maintain her white passing appearance, she turned to extreme skin bleaching treatments. These treatments, which were widely available in British colonies, contained toxic ingredients like mercury and ammonia, leading to severe damage over time. The results were disastrous. Her skin became sensitive, scarred, and uneven. Some claim that a supposed cosmetic poisoning incident in the 1940s was actually a reaction to years of bleaching, leaving her face permanently damaged. Desperate to fix the damage, she underwent multiple rounds of dermabrasion, an early form of skin resurfacing that was both painful and risky. She also learned intricate makeup techniques to conceal her scars, applying powder before foundation, and carefully layering products to create a flawless illusion. In fact, her cosmetic struggles even led to a Hollywood innovation. Cinematographer Lucien Ballard, her then husband, invented the OB light, a special camera light designed to blur her imperfections on film. This invention was revolutionary and is still used in various forms today. Behind closed doors, Merle continued to battle the physical toll of her efforts. The constant exposure to harmful chemicals took a toll on her health, leading to chronic skin issues that required frequent medical treatments. She avoided close-ups in films whenever possible and relied on heavy makeup to maintain her polished appearance. Despite the deception, Merle's talent and striking appearance landed her in Hollywood's spotlight. She became a leading lady in films like The Private Life of Henry VIII, 1933, and Wuthering Heights, 1939, earning praise for her performances. But as her fame grew, so did scrutiny. Hollywood reporters and colleagues noticed her unusual accent and exotic features. Whispers began circulating that she was of mixed heritage, something considered scandalous at the time. Determined to keep the truth buried, she doubled down on her Tasmanian origin story. She refused to discuss her past, dodged questions, and ensured no photographs from her childhood existed. This level of secrecy only fueled speculation, and despite her best efforts, her real identity would eventually come to light. Her career thrived, but the burden of living a lie weighed heavily on her. She avoided reunions with family members, fearing that any connection to India could expose the truth. Even when confronted by those who knew her past, she remained steadfast in her deception, unwilling to risk losing everything she had built. For decades, Merle maintained her false identity. But in the 1970s, her half-brother Harry Selby discovered the truth. While searching through government records in Bombay, he found her original birth certificate proving she was born in India. Excited, he tried to reconnect with her, but Merle wasn't interested. She refused to see him and shut him out entirely, unwilling to let her carefully constructed life unravel. Even in the face of undeniable proof, she maintained her fabricated history. Her silence extended beyond her family. She never publicly acknowledged her roots, and even when filmmakers approached her with documentaries exploring her background, she declined to participate. To the world, she was still the glamorous European actress with no connection to India. Merl Oberon took her secrets to the grave. In 1979, at just 68 years old, she suffered a fatal stroke. Even in her final years, she never publicly admitted the truth about her origins. The identity she spent a lifetime constructing remained intact, yet those closest to her hinted at a woman tormented by the fear of exposure. Over the years, Merle had grown increasingly private, granting fewer interviews and making rare public appearances. Friends who visited her in her final months spoke of a lingering tension. She was cordial, but there was a guarded quality about her, as though she was waiting for the moment everything might unravel. Despite her declining health, she kept up certain illusions. Her home remained tastefully decorated with curated photographs and memorabilia that presented a carefully controlled version of her life. Any picture that might indicate her true heritage, family photos from India, childhood snapshots, or images of Constance, were conspicuously absent. In their place were portraits from her glory days in Hollywood, spotlighting her role as a refined and glamorous star. As Merle's condition worsened, she reportedly confided in only a select few, including close friends and doctors. According to some accounts, she considered sharing her real story in her final years, but fear held her back. Her entire career was built on her false identity, and revealing the truth so late could have overshadowed everything she accomplished in film. Whether this was a genuine concern for her legacy or a final effort to protect herself remains open to interpretation. When the fatal stroke hit, she was in Los Angeles, the city that had embraced her stardom. Hollywood mourned her passing, offering tributes and memorials that highlighted her on-screen achievements. Colleagues recalled her elegance, her poise, and her dedication to her craft. Fans remembered her as the enchanting leading lady whose beauty and talent brightened black and white classics. Away from the spotlight, however, her half-brother Harry and other relatives in India quietly grieved a loss of a different kind. A final confirmation that the door to the truth had closed forever. There would be no posthumous confession, no acknowledgement of her true origins. She left behind a web of secrets so meticulously crafted that even after her death, it was difficult for many to separate myth from reality. At her funeral, close friends and members of the film industry gathered to pay their respects. Notably absent were any immediate relatives from her Indian family. Whether they felt unwelcome or chose to remain distant is not entirely clear. Some speculated that Merle's Hollywood circle had no idea she had any living relatives outside of what she had claimed. Others believed her Indian relatives simply did not see a place for themselves at a service that celebrated a life built in large part on denying their connection. In the months following her death, retrospectives of her work aired on television, and film buffs rediscovered her performances in an era that prized silver screen glamour. Magazines published obituaries praising her contributions to cinema, yet none confronted the elephant in the room, her concealed heritage. Only a handful of journalists dared to hint at her rumored origins. Without a direct admission from Merle herself, the stories remained speculation to the public. By the early 1980s, curiosity about her life story began to mount. A new generation of film historians started investigating the murky details of her birth, piecing together clues that she had left behind. While some fans were shocked at the possibility that she was of mixed race, others praised her for breaking barriers, even if she did so under a false guise. To this day, Merl Oberon's death remains a turning point in her legacy. For many, it sealed her fate as an enigma. She was an actress who dazzled in front of the camera, but spent her life hiding who she really was. Whether she feared rejection from an unforgiving industry or simply couldn't face her own past, Merle chose to maintain her grand illusion until her very last breath. In a way, her passing symbolized the end of a Hollywood era that thrived on the veneer of perfection and illusion. Hers was not the only story of hidden identity, but it stands out for the depth of the deception and the extraordinary measures she took to remain hidden. Merl Oberon's story is one of survival, ambition, and the harsh realities of Hollywood's beauty standards. She played the role of a lifetime, not just on screen, but in her own life. The question remains, was she a victim of her era, forced to adapt to an industry that wouldn't accept her true self, or did she go too far in denying her past? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you want to honor her in some way, drop an orange heart below her favorite color. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's hidden stories.